You can tell I've been gone for a while. Good evening and welcome back. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Public comment is welcome and issues will be referred to the appropriate board committee or administrator. Comments will be summarized in the official board minutes, which will be made available by contacting the business office. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones or any other devices. All members are present with the exception of Jeremy, Amy, Beth, and Timon. All three are excused this evening. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening, if you follow our board meetings, typically we don't have a lot of notices and communications, but there are actually two. The first one I'll turn over to Dr. Perrin.
Yeah, we've got several communications this evening. We'll start with, we have some representatives here from our high school FBLA program. I'd like to invite them up to the microphone to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what the organization does and why they're here this evening. And welcome.
Evening, everybody. I'm Jacob Dickerson. I'm the treasurer of the Gettysburg High School FBLA chapter. We at the high school are a professional business organization. We dedicate ourselves to bringing business and education together through positive working, relationships, innovative leadership, and career development programs, and just teaching our members more about American enterprise and how that all works. This is Mrs. Justine Sigg. She's one of the business teachers at the high school. And tonight we are here to present you with a proclamation. This will declare the week of 5 through 11 February as National FBLA Week in Gettysburg Area School District. So I'll come up and present this to Dr. Perrin.
Thank you. If I'm going to throw a pitch, FBLA, I know my family's been involved in the organization for a number of years. What a fantastic organization. They have regional meets and other things that they do fundraising for. So the side pitch here tonight is they have an upcoming golf tournament that they do yearly, which is one of their main fundraisers. You can look on the district website or you can see one of the FBLA people for that information to help fund and keep that fantastic program moving forward.
Thanks for coming this evening and sharing this with us and with the district. For the proclamation, and best wishes with the organization through the remainder of the school year. Sure. Yeah.
I think it would also be okay to congratulate the advisor, Mrs. Sigg, and all the work that I'm a former FBLA advisor myself, and I know what goes into that and the commitment from our professional staff to support young people like the gentleman we have with us here tonight and the rest of the FBLA club. Thank you for your efforts as well.
Also this evening, I'm going to ask Officer O'Shea to come up to the microphone. If you recall, through the budget process this year, we created the position of safety and security and director of school police, and then we also put in the budget 2 additional officers. So I just thought I'd have him just speak to the fact that our other officers are on board.
That's correct. I believe it was the middle or end of August when I got hired, and the other 2 officers just started the 3rd of January. We have Officer Jim Bivens in the high school full-time, and Officer Scott Weaver is in the middle school full-time. Scott will actually, part of his duties is to cross the street and cover Lincoln Elementary at the same time. So,
thanks.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat. That's it.
So it's good to have all of them aboard, and they're currently in the process of getting to know the buildings and all of the folks within the buildings, and so we're fully staffed. So thanks a lot, and thanks to Officer O'Shea for his leadership. Thanks.
We'll take a brief moment.
Couple of using calendar.
Okay.
Couple of calendar reminders. Given some of the weather before the winter break, just a reminder that March 17th is now a school day with a early dismissal, 11 a.m. and noon, like the rest of our early dismissals. Any complete cancellations from here on out would then be remote learning days, as we've utilized the one day within the calendar for snow makeup. Since a couple of folks have asked, I'll also just remind folks that commencement this year is scheduled for Friday, May 26th. That date doesn't move, so that will be commencement, regardless of what kind of weather we see or what we do. Second semester at the secondary level started today. So, a lot going on. Thanks.
Continue real briefly. I failed to mention at the beginning of the meeting, members will hold executive session immediately following related to a property discussion. And I would be remiss if we didn't take the opportunity to thank our own John Travolta, a.k.a. Jeremy Lusk, with his fantastic victory with Dancing with the Stars on Friday. Congratulations. Sorry. Moving on to routine approvals. If you're looking at your agenda, I am going to remove 5.2 financial report and vote on that separately. I'm sure the board will understand the reasons as we get to it. But 5.1 through 5.11 minus 5.2, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry. He told me. I apologize. There is no public comment this evening. He had already told me. So I have a motion on the floor. May I have a second on 5.1 through 5.11, absent or minus 5.2?
Second.
Roll, question? Hearing no question, roll call. Al?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Timon?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 5.2 financials under routine approvals. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Question? Hearing no question, roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Michelle?
I'm abstaining because I'm actually listed as a reimbursement for the cabaret dinner.
Thank you. Ryan?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Timon? And I vote yes. 6.1, items for board action, Act 1 resolution. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Question? The only comment I would have is just to reiterate, because each year that I've been on this board, we ultimately get a question or an email related to the Act 1. The Act 1 is not a budget vote this evening. It's just capping or saying that the board will not exceed a certain limit. It's a routine item that the board has to face across the state of Pennsylvania each year. Has no way, or does not reflect in any way, where the board's final budget negotiations were, or where the final budget vote will land when it's time. Are there any additional questions on 6.1? Hearing none, roll call. Ryan?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Timon?
Yes.
And I vote yes. next portion of the meeting this evening is under informational items, and I believe Jason's pretty much covered that, but I'll turn over the next couple things to you, Jason.
Sure. Just as information, the 23-24 district calendar is there as an informational item. The only change we might make between now and it'll be on for approval at the next board meeting is adding a professional development day. I think we just missed that in there. And that's been to the policy committee several times prior to coming to the board as an informational item. So that's the proposed district calendar minus one professional development day.
.2, the 5-year plan. Are there any questions for the administration on that topic? .3 Warrior Stadium site assessment for additional team rooms. Board have any questions on that informational item? All right, well, on 7.3, Josh and Tim, this is all going through building and finance, correct, at this point? So the recommendation at some point will come from the committee?
I'm assuming that, I'm assuming whenever we have anything, it'll come here for potential vote discussion at that point in time, whenever we have that. I know that most of the information has already been out and went over between here and Finance Committee, so.
Board committee reports, Al?
Thank you, President Hassinger. Just briefly, I had an opportunity to meet with some of our state reps recently. I took that opportunity to talk a little bit about the budgetary timeline. Belinda, I'm saddened to say I didn't make any headway with them. I had heard that they were considering some legislation where the state would decide on their budget and allow us to know the allocation that we would get locally before having to have our final budget approved, which I think makes logical, perfect sense. But in Harrisburg doesn't operate that way, and chances are that's not going to happen. We do have a new governor. It'll be, he was inaugurated today, I believe, Josh Shapiro. He's sitting on about $5 billion worth of surplus revenue. I'm hopeful that the public schools will see part of that revenue come our way. Thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, for the policy committee, the next meeting will be February 14th at 4 p.m. in the administration building. And on our last policy committee, we discussed the school calendar, which we got a little bit of a preview of this evening. And also we're looking at a policy for the opt-in, opt-out for the book policy that we've been discussing. The committee's still discussing guidelines and directions that we want to go with that policy. And we're also working through some technical limitations surrounding our current school library software. So we're still on discussion on that. No decisions have been made, and we're still working through. So,
Thank you. Tim?
Building and Finance meeting will be, we will not have meetings. Everything we went over will be on next meeting's agenda. We already went over, so there was nothing for us to go over.
Thank you. Program reports?
Hit most of it on the front end. We will have, Belinda, do you want to mention where they are with the audit and what we're going to be doing with that information-wise?
Yes, the auditors are still wrapping up some final stages, and we look to have the presentation the second meeting in February. I believe the first or second meeting in February for the presentation before the board. So we're hopeful that it'll be done and available by that point in time. So, And also, just for a point of clarification, Mr. Sigmund, we are canceling this meeting for this Thursday, correct? Yes. Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
We'll send a reminder out tomorrow.
That brings us to the calendar of events. Our next scheduled school board meeting will be February 6th here at the Administration Boardroom at 7 p.m. A reminder to the board, we will hold a brief executive session immediately following. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.